The news day continues here on One News Now. I'm Pauline Verzosa. Severe tropical storm Kristine is now over the Cordillera region. Its center was last spotted in the vicinity of Aguinaldo, Ifugao. It packs maximum winds of 95 kilometers per hour and gustiness of up to 160 kph. Kristine is forecast to cross northern Luzon and emerge over the waters west of Ilocos this afternoon. It is also expected to exit the Philippine area of responsibility tomorrow afternoon. Signal number 3 remains up over the southern portion of Cagayan, Isabela, Quirino, Nueva Vizcaya, Kalinga, and Mountain Province. The list also includes Ifugao, southern portion of Abra, Benguet, parts of Aurora, Nueva Ecija, Tarlac, Zambales, as well as Pangasinan, La Union, and central and southern portions of Ilocos Sur. Meanwhile, Metro Manila and over a dozen other areas in Luzon are now under signal number 2. Meanwhile, these areas being flashed on your screens are now under signal number 1. The Trade Department implements price freeze in areas severely affected by Kristine. This covers those under a state of calamity, such as Albay and Magpet Town in Cotabato. The price freeze means basic necessities will be sold at prevailing prices for 60 days. Violators will face imprisonment of up to 10 years or a fine of up to 1 million pesos. Some residents in Caloocan experienced chest-deep floods due to the rain brought by severe tropical storm Kristine. Rescuers saved 5 families in Barangay 32 in Maypaho, Caloocan yesterday morning. They are now in an evacuation center. Meanwhile, in Quezon City, several residents preemptively evacuated before they experienced floods due to Kristine. 10 barangays vulnerable to floods conducted a mandatory pre-evacuation. However, some residents want to stay in their homes due to the fear of thieves getting their belongings. But barangay officials told them that it would be better to evacuate than to look out for their houses.
Gamit lang yan, no? Material lang yan. No, pero yung buhay nyo, no, yun yung mahirap pag nawala sa inyo. Kawawa naman yung pamilyang maiiwan nyo.
Meanwhile, around 7,000 passengers across Luzon and Visayas were stranded in ports due to severe tropical storm Kristine. 3,100 of them are in eastern Visayas, while 1,700 are stranded in the Bicol region. There are also stranded passengers in northwestern Luzon, southern Tagalog, central Visayas, western Visayas, and northeastern Mindanao. The Philippine Coast Guard also reported that 111 vessels, 22 motor bangkas, and over 1,000 rolling cargoes have been stranded across 103 ports as of yesterday. We still have more stories after this break. Keep it here on One News. Welcome back. You're still watching One News Now. I'm Pauline Verzosa.
Bilang Pilipino, bilang Pilipino.
Kingdom of Jesus Christ leader Pastor Apollo Kibuloy personally heard his alleged victims' narratives on the abuse that he abused them in a Senate hearing yesterday. Still, the KOJC leader denied all the accusations against him. Mayan Los Baños has that report.
The storm was raging outside, but that didn't stop the Senate Committee on Women and Children's hearing on the alleged abuses of Kingdom of Jesus Christ founder Apollo Kibuloy. He arrived in the Senate past 9 a.m. without a bulletproof vest, but surrounded by a handful of police and the Senate Sergeant-at-Arms. At the session hall, Kibuloy came face-to-face with his alleged victims, including Teresita Valdeweza, a former member and volunteer worker of KOJC. Valdeweza says she was 17 years old, a minor, when she joined KOJC in 1980, leaving behind family and friends. She said at that time she truly believed she was working alongside a man appointed by God. But one day, Kibuloy allegedly summoned Valdeweza, who was then instructed to proceed to his hotel room and sleep next to him.
Absolute obedience was a must. We needed to have an unquestioned loyalty and reverence toward him. Sleeping beside a man I believed to be chosen by God was for me then a great privilege. Without a word, after turning off the light, he embraced me, undressed me, and violated me with his lustful act, and left me in shock and speechless. He then said, "This is the fulfillment of God's revelation." He explained that God had revealed to him that I was to partake in God's life through him by surrendering my body, soul, and spirit. He also mentioned that other girls would go through him in a similar manner. His words were strange, but I was too shocked to respond.
Kibuloy allegedly told Valdeweza she will be part of God's life by surrendering her body and soul. After that, Valdeweza became part of the KOJC's inner circle. She said she was promoted to several high positions, including National Logistics Coordinator and Luzon Area Administrator. Valdeweza was also in charge of organizing fundraising activities for the church, such as caroling and selling of rice delicacies or kakanin during Christmas. She had a quota of 10 to 15 million pesos just for the month of December. To hit that, they had to exploit children.
We recruited and trafficked our young people from Mindanao and Visayas to carol in the provinces of Luzon and in the national capital region cities. Marami pong estudyante na Nobyembre pa lang kailangan nang mag-absent sa paralan at ang iba hindi na nakabalik sa pag-aaral dahil inuna ang simbahan, inuna ang pagcaroling, inuna ang paghanap ng pera. But nobody questioned. Naghirap ang maraming workers at members sa pagkaroling at pagsulisit sa bawat tao sa lahat ng dako dito sa ating bansa. May namatay, may na-aksidente, may nakulong, may mga na-rape pa na hindi na na-report dahil baka hindi paniwalaan.
She says no one ever dared question where the money went, but KOJC members were instructed to live a simple life. But when Valdeweza and other members of Kibuloy's inner circle traveled to the US, all the group's teachings about simplicity flew out the window.
I witnessed the double standard life. What we prohibited in the Philippines, we did them there. We lived in luxury. We toured around. We dined in fine and expensive restaurants. We watched movies. Sky's the limit when they went shopping. I decided to stay in the apartment where the minister and his family lived. Despite the insistence of ICC to stay with them, I refused. I made a lot of excuses sapagkat hindi ko po natin na kaming nasa Amerika ay masyadong nagpakasasa sa paggasta sa pera na masyadong pinaghirapan ng mga kapatiran at ng mga full-time workers.
Valdeweza said she tried to leave the group twice, but they rejected her resignation both times. But when church members felt she was growing distant, they turned on her. They allegedly forced her to write a letter confessing she had been fornicating with ministers, among other sins. They also apparently sent to a mountain in Davao City for 7 months.
I was sent back here to receive a punishment through prayer and fasting in the guise of spiritual discipline. And the fasting they planned for me was beyond my imagination. It took me 7 months to suffer hunger, and isolation in the mountain of Tamayong in Kalinan, Davao City. They placed me in a small, dark, elevated room beside a kitchen, separated only by amakan walls. My bed was rough, made of uneven slabs with exposed nails pressing into my back. I was physically very weak and so depressed. I prayed that God would just take my life. Ilang beses po ako nanalangin na sana kunin na ako ng Panginoon.
10 araw na walang tubig at 10 araw na walang pagkain?
Yes po, that's true.
Paano niyo po na-survive yun?
I did not even think I would survive.
Opo.
Because of course, the place was cold. And then every time in the morning when I took a bath, so parang doon ko na lang nalalasap yung tubig. Kaya I keep taking a bath 3 times a day.
Iniinom niyo na lang yung
Halos, hindi naman mainom
tubig
kasi
pampaligo?
Another alleged sexual abuse victim and former KOJC member was Yulia Tertova, a Ukrainian who was also known as Sofia. She appeared in Senate via Zoom and testified that she was repeatedly abused by Kibuloy from 2014 to 2019. Tertova said there was even a schedule of who would sleep with Kibuloy each night.
He had the key of each room, and just in the middle of the night, he come to my room and have sex with me. Then, and you cannot run away. You cannot say I don't want, because if you say I don't want, he said you didn't overcome your flesh, and if you will not obey, you will go to hell.
Senator Risa Hontiveros, who was chairing the committee, then asked Kibuloy point blank about the allegations.
Sinexually abuse niyo ba ang mga babae at mga menor de edad?
Wala pong mga katotohanan yung kanilang mga sinasabi, kundi sa aking paningin ay kabaligtaran. Ngunit hinahamon ko po silang mag-file ng kaso sapagkat ito'y mga kriminal na mga allegations. At ito ay para maging fair, ay maghain po sila ng mag-file sila ng kaso laban sa akin o kanino mang kanilang gustong mag-file laban sa mga kingdom na leaders or members.
Kibuloy also denied the accusations that they would make children and the elderly beg for money and alms. Reporting for News 5, Mean Los Baños, we are One News.
Now in other news, 2 officials from Davao underwent a hair follicle drug test. Davao City Representative Pulong Duterte said he decided to take the test due to repeated allegations connecting him to illegal drugs. Meanwhile, PBA party list Migs Nograles challenged Duterte to take a new drug test, saying that the result he initially shared was from August. Nograles also decided to take her own test after Duterte challenged her to do the same. The two are facing off next year to become 1st District Representative of Davao City. And those are the top stories of the hour. I'm Pauline Berzosa. We are One News.